Welcome back to Notch EV. I'm now in Maine. I drove the Gravity up here and I'm recording this the next day, but I'm going to basically show you guys some random sort of thoughts I was having, first impressions of just kind of every random little thing that I was experiencing during the drive up. Later on, I'll make like more organized videos of more specific topics, but in this you'll be able to see some charging at a Tesla Supercharger, lots of little kind of tidbits of things I've noticed right off the bat, and you'll see some of the errors I've been getting, and yeah, hopefully it'll give you guys a good little start to look at what's going on in the Gravity. So trip A is kind of what to look at. 350 miles, I'm at 3.11 miles per kilowatt hour. I just was ripping it a little bit, so it was a little higher than that. That sort of looks like an interesting area of maybe where the efficiency is going to land. And let's just go back now to last night when I started driving. I just wanted to give a little update on how things are going. I'm going to do kind of some first impressions on this drive because this is my first longer drive. I got a couple hundred miles to feel things out right now. But to start off, we're stacking some service errors all of a sudden. I have had a rear steer error that came up and it seems to come and go, but I can also notice at the same time rear steer still working while also getting that error. Also, just a few minutes ago, I got a headlight error that said call service. So those are my two errors now. So I have a little issue on my dash, a little triangle with an exclamation. Hopefully we don't go beyond those errors. And my other problems would be what you guys know about already, which is the physical part on the sort of spoiler, and I have a squeaky back seat. So 4 things now that need to be addressed, and we'll go from there. I'll get back to you guys with more info once I get on the highway and start feeling out more of the nav and how it works, and I'll be doing some dream drive tests. But this is going to be kind of like random thoughts, first impressions. A lot of this I'll probably try to refilm down the road in more like organized ways. But for now, join me on this little first drive. For starters, not quite on the highway yet, but Dream Drive, I have the Dream Drive Pro 2, so I have the full sensor pack. Dream Drive does work pretty well on these 2-lane roads. It feels similar to Tesla Autopilot, which obviously is base. I have not as much confidence in it as the Tesla Autopilot yet, specifically on these roads. But on the highway, I'll update you there as well. But it's nice that it works here. I don't think this is a pre-mapped road, so from what I can tell, this is working beyond pre-mapped roads, and it's super easy right now. Just chilling right now behind this truck. What you do to turn it on is you come down to, so you can actually see that button. The reflection is kind of funny. But right here is the Dream Drive button. I'm going to hit my brake or you can hit the X right here, which is hard to see as well, and that'll turn it off. Okay. Then to turn it on, if you click it once, it goes into cruise control. And then on the second click, it goes into Dream Drive, that lane centering thing. And this also has lane changes, which obviously won't apply here. I'll show you that once we get on the real highway. You can change that so that it's one click straight to Dream Drive, but then you wouldn't be able to have just cruise control without lane centering. It would just go right past it. Same way that Tesla does if you change from one pull to double pull on the stock. And I actually find it useful to have just normal cruise control first, because sometimes you just want to pop that on and then itch your leg or whatever without having to go into hard regen on your passenger. Okay, this is Dream Drive on the highway. I'm on the Mass Pike. Here you can see a warning, somebody will be coming up on my back left. I like this interface. It feels good on the highway. The whole car feels nice. I think on the highway this feels trustworthy. One thing so far that I'm feeling weird about with Lucid, which might need me to, I just need to get used to it, but the navigation is a little bit harder to follow. I have maps up on both. That's completely unnecessary, but it gives you two different perspectives, which is kind of cool. But Tesla has, I'd say, mastered simplicity. Simplicity from like a design standpoint is not easy. I think people think it's easy because it looks minimal, but getting only the important information out is hard. And what I'm seeing here is too much noise. And by noise, I mean essentially design clutter. There's too much, and honestly right here, this is the best it's ever looked, because in like rural Mass here, there's not a ton of roads. But when I was in New Jersey, I could barely figure out which highway I was even on. And for instance, on Tesla, I think the warnings of where I was going were better. And little things like, if this was an exit right here, Tesla has like a little dot. It's just a little dot, and it lets you know that that's your turn. And somehow it just makes everything a lot easier. I feel that I'm gonna get used to this, but off the bat, it's a little tough, and eventually I'll get it. I love having a little warning light there. I haven't had that in a long time. Here it's suggesting a lane change. So I can, nobody's back there, so I can pull this lever down a little bit, and then here we go, doing a lane change, nice and smooth, and now it's picking up speed. Yeah, I mean, that felt very good. There's a nice moon up there. I think this is a good place to be starting with Dream Drive Pro. I think it's only going to get better. But this is some of my little feelings with the navigation and the way everything feels so far. There's so many of these pay attention warnings. It's kind of crazy. This location right there, it says the next stop. That's a charger. That's a Tesla charger. And it's not, I feel like it should say that. I feel like it's vague. Like, what is that? Tell me that's a charger. I'll make a note here, now that I'm on the highway. In smooth mode, the ride height has now dropped to low automatically. So that'll help with range. I didn't even think about that until right this moment, but that's very cool. Can some current Lucid owners let me know? I've mounted this here right now, it's no good, but I've heard that Lucid glass windshields sometimes block radar detection, something about the windshield. I think that's happening. If anybody has any input on that, let me know. These cameras, side cameras here, they work perfectly fine. Way lower quality than Tesla's side view. Not sure what that's about. When I test drove this car, those played at a choppy frame rate. That seems to be better than it was, but I feel like the quality is not as good. I'm not sure if those are actually connected. Did they reduce the quality of the feed specifically to get the playback smoother? Big questions here. I don't have the answer to them. Also, something I find a little bit finicky, and I'm sure it's something I'll get used to, but these pads here, let's see how Dream Drive does when we lost lanes. All right, okay. Not bad. That felt pretty good. Let's be honest, I wasn't paying enough attention to the road there. These are a little finicky because if you want to press the top button when Dream Drive's working, here, I'll push it. You'll see this number will go to 72. Okay, see that? If I push the bottom part, it'll go to it will go down to 71. Okay, it didn't do it. See what I'm saying? It's a little bit finicky to try to get it. I'm going to do a lane change because we got a slow truck here. And the thing about it is that you kind of, well, at least right now until I get used to it, I kind of, if I want to make the speed go higher, I just want to press the top. So I just look for the lip and I press the lip. But the problem is the lip is not the touch screen. The lip is nothing, I guess you'd say. So then I don't actually change anything. So you need to like nail it. You need to nail the right spot within the pad rather than the edge of the pad. And I guess that's kind of a limitation because it's not a button in the way that you might expect. It's more of a, you know, like an iPhone screen type of situation. I feel like the NVH in this car is excellent because, well, with the Comfort Convenient package, I know there's even more laminated glass, but basically the NVH is so good that I hear things that it's just so weird. For instance, I hear the massage, like the balls in the massage seat. I can hear the motor of those, and I've never noticed anything like that before. It's nice and quiet in here. And of course, I can hear the backseat squeaking, which will get fixed. The best way to deal with not hearing lame stuff is to crank the music, which I don't do when I'm recording for obvious reasons. But the Surreal Sound Pro or whatever, the 22 speakers, ooh, it's real good. This is a nice sound system coming from, you know, everybody, well, I think everybody knows, but Tesla, for the price, has a really great sound system. And I was actually kind of worried that what if I came in here and it was subpar in comparison to a car that's way less money? That would have pissed me off. I can't speak for if you don't upgrade the sound system, but the upgraded sound system bangs and it's good. So I put that on so that I don't hear my seat rattling, and then I could let my mind be at ease instead of being completely neurotic sitting in the front seat listening to squeaks. I feel like this has good visibility. So far on the highway, I have nice mirrors, nice visibility out of my rear view. It definitely has more visibility than when I was in the Model Y. Model Y has a pretty small back window and also pretty small side view mirrors. These all are a little bit easier to see things in. On that note, I'm also noticing on occasion people checking out the Gravity. A guy from Pennsylvania in a silver Vistic definitely was noticing me. So if he finds this video, if you were driving on a Mass Pike, I saw you too, buddy. Something I find interesting also is I've been trying out different drive modes. Right now I'm in Swift, but also in Smooth and Sprint. The auto ride height that it adjusts to, you can't go to lowest while driving. And it won't auto adjust you to lowest or to highest. It'll only be in those mid ranges, so low, standard, and high. So if I want to go to lowest, I gotta park and then set it to lowest. Or I'll do a test, actually. I'm not sure if I can do it at really low speed or just stopped, but not in park. But I have a feeling that in order to get the 450 range number that EPA is using, I might have to be in lowest, and it won't automatically do that. So that's something I'm going to look into. And then it brings up the question of, is it cheating to do a 70 mile an hour range test in lowest, or do I need to do it in low, like where it says where it will automatically go? So give me your input on that. I feel like I should do it in lowest and max the efficiency, but I know that that's not an auto setting, so that brings in another thing. Also, something else I'm noticing when it comes to nav and being on the road and trying to adjust and change like my next charger, it's much harder than it is to do in a Tesla, and the map definitely doesn't react as well or smooth. For instance, if I zoom out while I'm driving, you could see how that's choppy. It's not that choppy all the time. I don't know what that's about. But you can see I have a charger here, and then there's my destination, which is currently set at the Portland airport. If I want to look for, because you see I'm getting to that charger at 26%, I'd rather go lower than that. So what I'm used to doing is, yikes, this guy's coming real close to me. What the hell? Jesus. Sorry, guys. That guy's towing and really cutting the line here. What I normally do is click charger and then try to choose a charger in between. But like, what the hell did it just do? It's like, let me click a long route. And let's see what, now it's placing these options here. And if I'm like gonna look at it, it's just really choppy and hard to use for trying to jump to another charger option. Not to say that the software is bad, because this is definitely good. The route planning works, auto charging works. I noticed that auto preconditioning was not selected from the beginning. So I put on auto preconditioning, not sure what, I feel like that should be on. I'm not sure if somebody at Lucid turned it off during delivery, but that should definitely be on, I think, especially for first-time EV buyers. Okay, I gotta kill this and pay attention. Does having big, interesting shaped screens slow down the ability for coders to code strong software, or does it not matter? I'd love to know if anybody has any insight on that. But I do know that while driving, this is choppier. And one thing I'm realizing I should bring up, potentially, maybe it's why it's choppy, but I've had really low service. You could see the phone, sort of the phone bar graph. I only have one bar there. I just unplugged the radar detector to see if that played any interference. It didn't. So my choppiness in my map, I wonder if it has to do with service being low. You also might have just noticed Dream Drive dropped out. There was no lines for a second back there, and obviously that's not great, but 99% of the time I've actually found that Dream Drive is really, really good. But you got to be on your toes just in case there's something like that. But I am happy with it. It's actually been way more fun to use than autopilot while I've been driving. We made it to our first charger here. We're at 26%. Let's see how we do speed-wise. This is obviously not going to be a actual charging test, but we're plugging in like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Recalculating.
That's
now
like
turn left and then turn right.
That's like an 8-second handshake. Let's see how we're doing. 24 kilowatts, 30.
Current route contains a toll.
All right. Let's see how we ramp up. I might have messed up some of the preconditioning. But let's see how quick this goes. I haven't supercharged this car this low yet. I only did like a 3-minute attempt when it was at 78% or something, which you might have saw at the end of the other video. But we should be expecting 220 kilowatts right now as a max as it climbs up. And the nav here is suggesting we only need 4 minutes of charging. But I mean, that's just kind of random because that's not my final destination. We're at 190, 201, 214, 220. Okay, 221. So that's our max, which is good. I'm glad we're seeing that. Let's just keep an eye and see how long that holds. I'll be watching it and I'll click back in when we come off it. 34%, still holding 220. Like I said, this isn't an official like charging curve test that I'm doing, but you would expect that we'd be at 220 kilowatts from 0 all the way till here until whenever it tapers. But obviously I'm not seeing that firsthand, so I'm not going to make assumptions, but holding strong. 36%, 220. 40%, still holding 220. 220 kilowatts, 45%. Okay, 46%, 216. We're slowing a little bit. 48%, 206 kilowatts. You can see it's starting to get a little bit lower here. We're down, what, almost 20 kilowatts from peak on this charger. I think this is what we should expect. I'm happy that we got our full 220 up until it was like 45. Okay, 199 at 49. Hit 50% here. 51, 191. We're sort of ticking down slowly on the kilowatts. Every percentage. We're still beast moding percentage state of charge to kilowatt intake compared to a Model Y right now though, which is nice. 55%, 177 kilowatts. We would be well under 100 kilowatts right now on a Model Y charging curve. I'm very happy with this. If it's driving you crazy to keep on hearing me say Model Y, it's because that's my main comparison point as my previous car. And also, it's a good comparison point because it's basically the most popular EV. So I think I'll be speaking to a lot of people this way. 57, almost. I mean, how long have I been here? Does this tell me how long I've been here? I haven't been here that long. I've been crushing and just filling this pack up. Super easy. If I went and got a coffee, the Starbucks over there is not open, which bums me out. But if I went and got a coffee and came back, this thing would just be so full. We're really getting, I think that the charging curve on this car is really the tipping point for how far you can go and how long you need to charge in comparison to driving like a gas car. If you're driving really far in one day, the speed that this thing charges is like more than enough for you to take a bathroom break and then have another couple 100 miles. So we're talking like a few minutes charging on, 800-mile road trip day. That's what it looks like to me, and it's pretty crazy. Now we're at 60%, still 177 kilowatts. Like I think we'd be at 60 or 50 kilowatts right now on a Model Y pack. Damn, this is good. 65%, 168 kilowatts, still pushing strong. This has got kind of a cool little charging light setup. I think that front looks good. The illuminated Lucid. Ooh. And then this is it on the back. Kind of has this charging pulse. I tell you, it's so nice to just be able to roll up to a supercharger and have the port in the right place. We're at 67 now, 164 kilowatts. It's holding it really strong. When we came off the 200 mark, I was worried it was going to drop faster, but it's curving down pretty nice. 70% is coming up soon, and we're still above 160. Hitting 70 right here. 157 kilowatts. Still 70%, 156, 155. We're slowly dropping here, but 70%, holding 155 right now. When I'm not alone filming, I would normally be getting out of the car at a rest stop like this and going and doing something. I am really curious to see how drastic this car will charge while I go grab a drink. It's like I'm watching a pot boil, but it's still going fast. 72, looks like we're going to lose 150 here. I hope this isn't too boring for people. I think people are really curious about this. Okay, there's 149. Still at 72. Probably about to break to 73. Yeah, okay. So 73. We're in the 140s now. 75%, 143 kilowatts. Hitting 140 kilowatts here. Now at 76%. A slight drop, 77, 138. I don't need to stay here anymore, but I'll stay till 80 just to get a picture of what that looks like. 128 at 78. I mentioned this while I was driving. Here's this little button up here. And this first option says smart preconditioning. That was not checked when I received the car. Seems weird to me. 78, 124 kilowatts. I want to see 80 and I want to see above 100 kilowatts. Very close. I think we're going to make it. I wonder if it'll do anything at 80, like drop off a cliff or, hold strong. There it is, 80, 115 kilowatts. Nice. It's not having any sort of drastic turn down at 80, it doesn't look like. 112. Yeah. All right, well, so that was like a 26 to 80% charge. I'm going to kill it here. We're still at 80. We're at 111, 110. I'm going to keep moving. This is not a legit charging test, guys. Super easy. Gotta love it. The dynamic range thing here says I have 311 miles at 80%. Just so you guys know.
Now turn right.
It's either like the fact that I'm just sort of, overwhelmed with all the new tech in this car or these maps, but I keep on getting so screwed up. Luckily I made that the right way, but I just almost totally missed the turn again. Okay, I no longer seem to have a headlight error. I've had a triangle. The whole time I've had like an error triangle here and a notification that said headlights, find service. It's all gone. Did the Tesla Supercharger fix my headlights? Nobody knows. The max we got on Dream Drive that it lets us do is 90. So there you go. I feel like I actually should have shown you this before. This is what comes with the Gravity. You've got your key fob, which has its issues, like you need to shake it to wake it up to make the car work. And then you've got the two different adapters that come with the car. If you order Dream Edition, I understand you get two key fobs actually. And then you also get this bag, which I think is optimized for the air because it doesn't fit the trunk of this car properly. But this is the mobile adapter. That's the NEMA 1450 plug. I'm currently plugged in right now, right there, and I'm using the 120 outlet to plug into this garage back here. But you can see this is the that's the charger you get. I just unboxed these so you can see what you're gonna get. You're gonna get your CCS to NACS, and you're gonna get your J1772 AC to NACS.